Well, good morning, everybody. How is everyone today? So, today is Tuesday. Oh, boy, I'll tell you something. What a Monday. What a Tuesday. And I think, what day is it today? Oh, it's not Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, I believe. I don't even know what day it is. So, as the title says, I finally feel comfortable in my own skin, and I'm really happy with the age I'm at now because of the choices that I'm allowed to make for myself as a female and as basically a human being. So, what I wanted to discuss today was something that is very near and dear to me, and that is the environment. I know we have been bombarded with a lot of issues lately, and just hear me out here when I say when I want to talk about this, because this is where I'm talking about finally being comfortable in my own skin. The choices that I have made as far as my own personal carbon footprint on the property where I live, I think could benefit a lot of people. And if you remember a Go Live I did, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, this Go Live discussed how I was going to be talking about issues that maybe I didn't know or know about. And the big issue that has been coming to the forefront for many of us here in Canada is, of course, the carbon footprint. Well, I don't want to talk about the carbon footprint. I don't want to talk about that. But I do want to talk about environmental issues. I've held near and dear to me for the longest time the environment, and that includes wildlife management. That includes, everything that we do on a daily basis. And just a sec, I'll clear this out. And I just wanted to discuss with some people how we can just make small changes in our lives. And that's going to be something that we're going to be doing for 21 days. And that's kind of basically what this Go Live Challenge is about. 21 days gets us into a new habit, okay? And it gets us into a habit that we then can continue on, because it does take 21 days to basically retrain the subconscious and the mind to adapt into a new habit. Okay, so let's talk about habits. Something that I grew up with, and it wasn't by choice. It was because I come from a family of 10 kids, and that is recycled clothing. What a lot of us maybe don't know, or maybe we do know this, we've read it, but maybe we're not going to adapt it into our own lives. But let's talk about clothing. And I know that there's some women who are going to be watching this Go Live, and they're going to agree with me on this one. But maybe they didn't know the statistics behind it. How many of us buy recycled clothing? I have been a VV boutique girl for years. I think when the first Value Village opened up in Edmonton, I became a frequent shopper. I mean, it was amazing. I felt like, the vintage clothing that I found, and a lot of the deals that I had found at the time. I mean, where could you go and spend $20 in a clothing store and walk out with bags and bags of clothing? What I didn't know about clothing, and especially cotton, okay, everybody talks about, well, you should be wearing cotton this and cotton that. That's your t-shirts, your jeans, maybe your jackets or whatever. But what I didn't know about cotton, and here is a statistic that I have been looking up this week, and I've been researching on it quite a bit. To make one cotton t-shirt takes 6,800 liters of water. That's 6,800 liters of water to make one t-shirt. Now, to make one pair of blue jeans takes 10,000 liters of water. So I'm talking not gray water, I'm not talking seawater, I'm talking fresh water. So how many people have opposed fracking when it comes to the oil fields? Because fracking involves using fresh water in order to force oil particles out of shale. We've all been against fracking. On the other hand, these same people who are against fracking are out buying cotton t-shirts and new denim blue jeans. So there's a contradiction there. Okay, there is a big contradiction there. Like I said, I don't want to talk about too much about an environmental issue, but I do want to discuss a lot of the similarities that people aren't maybe they're not aware of, or maybe, they haven't read it and they haven't heard it before, or maybe this is the first time somebody's going to hear that. Fracking uses fresh water in order to extract oil from the shale. Now, how many liters of water are they using? Okay, that's one issue. 6,800 liters to make one cotton t-shirt 10,000 liters to make one pair of brand new jeans. That is incredible. Like, that is absolutely incredible. So let's put this to the masses. Let's just say every Canadian went out and bought a brand new cotton t-shirt today. That's 37 million people. Times that by 6,800 liters to make those cotton t-shirts. How much water is that? Okay. Water is also a unsustainable source. And I mean, unless we get lots of snow and unless we get lots of rain and unless we're allowed to harvest that rainwater, we're running out of water as far as all of that goes. So I'm going to be looking a little bit more into this because I want to do some comparables on this. And, you know, not knowing this back 30 years ago when I started buying recycled clothing, and people were looking at me like, oh, you got to wear recycled clothing. Well, I grew up with 10 brothers and sisters. I was number 9. By the time I got a pair of jeans in my family, and my mom used to laugh at me all the time. I've had people were laughing at me all the time, but you know, the arse on these denim jeans, the patchwork on it was incredible. I mean, I was constantly patching up jeans to the point where now, well, not actually today, but it was a few years ago, where patchwork denim jeans became all the rage, and people were paying for brand new jeans, patched work, up in the range anywhere between $150 $200 down in the U.S. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Look at the people who are buying brand new denims, and they're already ripped. Already ripped. So 20, 30 years ago, I was ahead of the bell curve when it came to the fashion industry. All because I was wearing recycled clothing. So yes, that is an interesting subject. So when you want to talk about the environment and when you want to talk about how, you know, we're not talking about save the planet, like we're not going to go all crazy with that, but we're going to talk about what we can personally do to help slow down some of this, what people want to call progress. Let's slow some of this down, okay? Whereas we can save, you know, water for, you know, for whatever's needed. I mean, we absolutely need this. Here's an interesting fact, and this is a fact because I saw it with my own eyes. In the state of California, because there's no water there, what do you think they irrigate their crops with? And we all buy produce out of California, do we not? I don't. Since I've been there, I refuse to buy it. I refuse to buy it. I will buy from the states, so that will be Arizona, and that will be certain parts of Mexico, and then from Texas. California has no water. So what do you think they irrigate their crops with? Gray water. It's all gray water. They have no fresh water in California. The fresh water they have that comes from the Columbia River out of the state of Arizona, that goes for their drinking water, their tap water, and for people to have their showers. That's the water scarcity of California. So I don't eat produce that comes out of California. Absolutely, I will refuse. I don't buy it. I saw these fields with my own eyes because I used to pick up at these fields when I drove truck. So driving a truck across the U.S., I was able to see from state to state some of their farming processes, and I'm talking massive operations. I mean, I seen things that just terrified me to the point where I will not eat fresh tomatoes today that have been brought out of the States. I'm not going to tell you why, but I won't eat fresh tomatoes that come out of the States. If they say it's been vine ripened and it was shipped up, they're lying to you. I'll tell you that right now. If you're going to buy that kind of stuff, and if you want tomatoes and if you want cucumbers, in Alberta, there are greenhouses that are in Medicine Hat and in the Red Cliff area, and one of them is called Marble Farms and the other one is Sunshine. Okay, these ones are organically grown, and they're grown in big greenhouses. If anybody has traveled in southern Alberta, you'll see these from the highway. You'll see these massive operations. The unfortunate thing about Marble Farms, and they do supply Sobeys, and they supply, I believe it's Safeways. The unfortunate thing about them is that they're all shrink wrapped. So your cucumbers are coming individually wrapped in plastic. I won't buy that either, because that's, again, single-use plastic. So what I bring into the house, I'm very mindful and I'm very conscious of it. So if we can all just make one habit change, and that might be to stop using bottled water as well. And people are going to say, well, you know, what's wrong with bottled water? Well, it depends on who you're buying it from. Okay, it depends on who you're buying it from. But regardless of who you're buying it from, you might be able to recycle the bottle itself, and you're going to take it back to the bottle depot if you live in Alberta. There's a couple of provinces, believe it or not, in Canada that don't have recycling depots for bottles. Okay, so that's a big issue. But what you cannot recycle is the bottle cap. Okay, the bottle caps have to go into the garbage. Okay, anything that doesn't fit the size of your hand cannot go to a recycle depot, because when they shake everything out, everything that falls down goes to the garbage. So that's your bottle caps. That's going to be your little tags that you get on your bread bags. Okay, those things. Those are not recyclable. Okay, so we need to be more mindful and more conscious about what we buy as a consumer, and if we're going to be paying for it, do we not demand that they make the changes? So that's an interesting thing. In light of everything that's been going on in this country in the last couple of days, believe you me, I didn't sleep Monday night, and I was in bed last night between 7 and 7:30. I got up at about 3:30 this morning. I had to stay in bed because I knew if I did not stay in bed at 3:30 in the morning, I would have been up now for like 6 hours already. So I forced myself to stay in bed. So that is a big thing. That's huge. And the issues that I was dealing with yesterday, I had a bunch of people reaching out to me. And this is, just about the issues that are going on here in Alberta. I'm not going to make this page about that either. I don't want to get into that. What I do want to keep talking about, though, is our small part. Okay, our small part that we can do as far as water. Okay, as water. Let's start there. Let's start with water. Let's start being mindful and, watch our use of water. I've had a distiller in my house for 20 years. Okay, so that's, anybody knows about a distiller, you can basically make water out of mud. Okay, so I've had this thing for 20 years. I've learned how to fix this thing myself. I mean, I need some new rubber hoses. These are surgical hoses that I need. So I need to go and get some new surgical hoses for this thing. And I also have a water machine in my house as well. So everywhere I go, I take my own water from home. I bring the containers home. I wash them. I read a book probably about, I'd have to say a good 10 years ago. It was called Plan B Squared. Okay, so this was a revised version of a book talking about Plan B. And it was basically a book talking about the water in the European market. I haven't had a dishwasher in over 20 years. I'm the dishwasher. I am. And that includes anybody who comes to my house. If I have 2 people here or if I have 20 people here, I will hand wash dishes. I have faced people and I have faced opposition from people who have worked for certain companies that even might promote dishwashers. And I'm like, you can tell me all you want about a dishwasher. And you can tell me that it uses less water and it uses less whatever. But listen, the power in the end, the recycling components of a dishwasher are not recyclable. You cannot recycle certain parts of a dishwasher. Just the maintenance on a dishwasher. Okay, so let's look at the dishwasher versus a kitchen sink. So what they were talking about this book, and if anybody's been to Europe, they'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. But water to buy is more expensive than drinking a bottle of wine. Yes, and that's why a lot of people drink wine there, because water's too expensive. So when people shower, like me, I shower every second day. They fill up their sink in the morning, and what they do is they leave that sink full of soapy water all day, and they wash all day in that sink water. They do not fill up that sink twice. That is a big no-no in Europe. They are charged astronomical amounts of funds in order to use water, so they have to be very careful. Europe is an awesome model for us to look at if we want to look at certain things that they're doing over there and apply it here. That would be an amazing way to go. And I know not all Canadians are going to want to follow that, because we look around us and we just see a land of prosperity. We have abundance here, and we never think it'll happen here. But in actuality, it's here sooner than you think. And let me tell you why that is as well. Houses that were built, especially in the Edmonton area, have lead pipes. Now, what do we know about lead? Okay, so we were taught, maybe some of you weren't. I don't know. Let's talk about that. Talk about paint. Okay, I learned a long time ago about paint. And this isn't just for painting for your homes. Who remembers reading newspapers and you got that black stuff on your fingers quite a bit? Okay, well, that's from ink. High levels of lead in ink and paint. So we went to low VOCs. VOCs stands for volatile organic compounds. Okay, so volatile, what does that mean? If you saw something that said volatile on it, well, you would think maybe combustion. Okay, yeah, that's partly what it is. So let's talk about VOCs, how we can lower our VOCs, but lead pipes in houses. So people who agree with each other and they think that drinking city water is okay because they just fill up their water and they drink it, are inadvertently getting themselves lead poisoning. So this is some of the rises where we're seeing some people getting sick and it's lead poisoning, but then they look at their homes and they took out the lead blinds. They don't use lead paint. I mean, it's not like they're eating paint chips. They're not understanding where the lead is coming from. So this was a recent report put out by the city of Edmonton that now it's being attributed to the lead pipe. So water machine or a distiller. Those Brita filters don't cut it. They absolutely do not cut it. And to remove small particles and compounds from water is a difficult process. So again, I have this distiller. I've had this distiller for years because I was so against bottled water. I didn't grow up with bottled water. I was not going to pay to drink water. I mean, I just couldn't wrap my head around that concept at all. So when I go anywhere now, because of the the issues with some water, I take my own because I know how it's being processed, and I just totally understand that. So stainless steel bottles. I don't use plastic bottles either. I don't like plastic drinking cups, nothing. I don't do any of that. And these are just some small changes that we can make. And if we can train ourselves over 21 days to understand that people think oil, well, oil is going away. Well, of course it is. Let's talk about, oil going away. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the basic human consumption, and that's water. Water is more important than oil will ever be. The same with the oxygen. We lose these two components, and what is a field full of oil going to do for us? It's not going to do anything for us if we lose our oxygen and if we lose our water. We need to think about these ones. So this was going to be my go live for today. I hope I didn't drive people crazy because of the issues with the recent election and stuff like that. But this is really, really near and dear to me. So I'm going to be looking more into the processes of how to make cotton, because we're talking about countries that already have very little drinking water. So we're talking about countries like India and Bangladesh. Some of the clothes I even buy, I believe, are coming out of the Philippines. I don't buy anything. I mean, I don't buy new clothes, people. I don't. But if I look at the labels and if I see where some of these clothes are made, you know what? I'm going to start looking in those countries, and I want to see how much water they really have. So then the value of that shirt, of that cotton shirt, in my mind has gone up exponentially, because I'm taking away water from children. I'm taking away the drinking water for them to irrigate their crops with. Maybe they're using gray water. I mean, this has really gotten out of hand. And I already saw this, like I said, I saw this in California where the produce fields were being irrigated with gray water. And is this the way we want our world to go? And I think this is something we really, really need to look at. And, for your own peace of mind, I want people to maybe start looking at being more mindful of water. That is the big thing. Okay. So that's going to be my go live today, ladies. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know today we were supposed to be hosting a watch party. I hosted watch party last night, and that was for the documentary called Over a Barrel. Yes, I'm a very staunch Albertan, and I believe that, people need to actually watch this documentary. Like I said, I hosted the watch party yesterday. It's called Over a Barrel. You can YouTube it. It has been the most viewed video so far. And look at that, especially for people from BC. Have a look at that. It will blow your mind on what's going on in the Great Bear region. So you guys have a really awesome day. All right, and we'll talk soon. Thank you. Bye.